This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. And when ye shall hear of wars and commotions of wars, Salaki, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Matthews 24, 6 and 8. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Salakia. Verse 7 in the book of Matthew 24 through the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, For nation shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Akarkadash.
Walking those socks outside. That shit crazy. Stupid. That landlord talking about his wife. He said, I won't fuck with her. This her shit. You just telling the truth? You gotta talk to her about that spot. She ain't worried about no car like that. Called my truck minute plate.
If you have a secret identity, you need to keep it secret. And if you want to save by bundling home and car insurance, you need
I don't want to get me on hard, because as long as they were there free. Swain been called. I done found the house. Shit. This ain't my shit. This her shit. She told me, what you go on the street? You know my told me that.
Yeah.
Like she says she on this one Monday and shit. That shit ain't never got in. That's why I said I'm going to get some plans, put it all the way up. That's why I put that curtain up there.
Yep.
See, you gotta do things yourself.
Yeah.
Like I told you about them fucking curtains. I said, they going up.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Told me I had the boxing curtain. She wasn't gonna put no one up there.
Salakia. Repeat that again. Shalom. First and foremost, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Akarkadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, pushing the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is a sit-down lesson on this September the 12th, 2022 at 10:51 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Monday night. And this is a news article from RT.com. And this was earlier today. I was going to do a lesson on it earlier, but I was in a class today. So now I just made it home, I said about a couple of hours ago. So now I'm about to do a sit-down lesson in regards to this news story that came out today on RT.com. Was posted on September the 12th, 2022. And the highlight of this news article, it reads for RT News, alternative news around the world, and it reads, Azerbaijan strikes Armenian border. The Baku and Yerevan confirmed reports of clashing, shattering, fragile Nagorno-Karabakh truss, explosions, and attributed to artillery drones were reported by residents in the Vardins, Jermukros, and Tavtif cities within the Armenian proper. Shortly after midnight on Tuesday, Armenian has blamed the neighboring Azerbaijan for the attack. It says shots are being fired along the entire line of the Armenian-Azerbaijan border And the government of Yerevan has called an urgent meeting. According to a local media, the Armenian Defense Ministry said in the army of Azerbaijan has used heavy artillery and drones are being used. A Turkish-made Baal Kotak drone was allegedly shot down over a Vyverdens, which is a northern Armenia and not adjunction to the dispute region of the Nagorno-Karabakh. Armenian troops are giving an adequate response to the Yerevan said. The government of Azerbaijan said Armenia began a widespread provocation against the Azerbaijan army forces, which responded in an intensive fire on the Armenian position. The defense ministry in the Baku accused Armenian teams of sabotage of mining roads and firing mortars into Azerbaijan army position near the town of Bazarkur. It's Stisel, Gura Klasa, and Guras on the Azeri side of the border, causing losses among personnel and damaging to military infrastructure. Azerbaijan also stated that there were losses amongst the personnel and military equipment on the Armenian armed forces. Tuesday morning, Monday's clash are a major escalation tensions between the two Caucasus countries. Azerbaijan attacking the Nagorno-Karabakh in early August after accusing the Armenian of violating the 2020 ceasefire and demanding the full demilitarization of the area inhabited the ethnic Armenians and prompting condemnation from Russia, which is granatory of the trust. The Nagorno-Karabakh is an international region as a part of Azerbaijan, yet the region is mostly Armenian population sought the independence from the Baku in the 1990s. It has been de facto a self-governor and has enjoyed the support from Armenians since then. In 2020, the Baku and Yerevan fought a 44-day long war over the dispute region, which ended up a Russian-broke ceasefire that saw Russian peacekeepers to deploy the Nagorno-Karabakh. A ceasefire broken by Moscow was left half of Nagorno inhabited by Armenians and protested by the Russian peacekeepers, while all other territories previously controlled by Yerevan were ceded back to Baku. So as you had this ceasefire, that was in 2020, between the two nations over the cross border from Russia, and ever since then they've been having like an on and off proxy wars, clash wars between one another, and they blame each one another breaking a ceasefire, I believe, a ceasefire trust ever since 2020. And then they had another clash not too long ago recently as well too. So yeah, I'll let you know the tensions is still going to be there between on both sides, even if they had that little ceasefire agreement from Russia back in 2020. And then they had most recently class conflict between one another on both sides, or personnel and soldiers lost their life during the conflict. Now with this recent one as well too. So we'll see this, see if this is going to continue to escalate, and furthermore increasing escalation between these two nations of the cross-border conflict clashes between the nations. So as I stated, I brought out the scriptures of in the introduction of this lesson. You go to Matthew's 24:7. Nations, the nations arise against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. So these are definitely in wars and rumors of wars, as you see, as it taking place on an everyday basis in the news. So these things are definitely going to increase. Now, there's going to be times where nations have a little ceasefire trust agreement, and then sometimes it might be breaking because they still going to accuse either one another of potentially breaking a trust ceasefire agreement violation. Of the details was printed out of the agreement on both sides, and then you're gonna have tensions calm down and tensions increase right back up as well too. So that's what you've been seeing, throughout these nations having a cross-border conflict with one another, you know. So these on and off clashes, conflicts between the two nations is going to continue to increase unless it's a full solution to it. But in the meantime, you're going to have these continual clashes, cross-border clashes between the nations as you're seeing it right now. As I bring out Matthew's 24:6, wars and rumors of wars, nations rising against nations and kingdom against kingdoms, commotions of wars is what we're seeing right now taking place on the planet Earth, and it's going to increase more and more. And the increase of nations rising up against nations, kingdom against kingdoms as well too. So it's going to increase more and more and more as the days approach ahead, in the times that we're living in. So with that, I hope this sit-down lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Makar double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, pushing this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, pushing the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, pushing the word truthfully and sincerely. And before I close out the sit-down lesson on this September the 12th, 2022 at 11:01 p.m. Central Standard Time on this Monday night. So wars and rumors of wars. Nations are rising up against different nations and different kingdoms as well too. It is going to increase more and more and more as you continue to see the continuing, ongoing, on and off clashes between the nations, commotions of wars. Nations are rising up against nations, rumors of wars increasingly now more than ever. As the nations continue to increase against one another, proxy wars, endless, ongoing cross-border clashes between the nations. As you see right here, as Azerbaijan strikes the army border. So you're going to see these increase now more than ever in the latter days. So with that, I would say shalom and a ball.